Hey, are you Ron?
I sure am.
You want to walk around Lake George with me today?
Of course. I grew up with a family that my father and mother loved fishing on the banks of the Mississippi River in northeast Iowa. First job was with the South Dakota Game and Fish Department. Next job was with Minneapolis Tribune, writing outdoor columns. And then I got a chance to do TV. One day the news director for Kare 11 television called me. He wanted some outdoor stuff because his sports reporters, they just cared about baseball, football, the usual. So I started doing some little 1-2 minute pieces, and he called it Minnesota Bound. And became very popular. And one thing led to another, and they said, let's have a half-hour show. And the station manager thought about that, and he says, I don't know if that's going to work or not. And so I talked to him, and he says, well, can you produce it? I lied and said yes. And he said, well, you produce it, you'll own it, and I'll buy it from you. That was 25 years ago. It's still on the air.
That's crazy.
That's what Minnesota Bound was. It's telling stories about interesting places, interesting people, nature. You know, from the time we lived in caves, we told stories on the wall.
It's true.
And when you were a little girl, your mother probably tucked you in at night and said, I'll read you a story.
Yep.
So we like stories. And so that was the evidence I needed, and Minnesota Bound, the longevity of it, its popularity, is proof of that. I've been to the Amazon River twice, fishing for peacock bass. I chased elk in Colorado with a bow and arrow until I finally decided God didn't want me to have one. And no, you know, I've been very lucky because I've seen a lot of this country outdoors. I've seen a lot of interesting people. If I was in Indiana, you could not have an Indiana Bound because
that's true. Not enough lakes.
No, Minnesota is unique from a standpoint of its outdoors. It's thousands of lakes. It's wilderness in the boundary waters, the vast northern forest, agriculture, prairies. So you have not only for a TV production, you have lots of things to see and do, but you have also a lot of interesting people who are in the outdoors and who love it as much as you do, and interesting characters who make things or draw things, or you know, we have like 67 state parks. They all are unique in themselves. If you haven't explored some of Minnesota, I would encourage you to do so, but that's what the show did too. I was thinking about trails. You know, there's snowmobile trails, ATV trails, hiking trails. And for some of us who hunt deer, we're interested in deer trails. You don't think about that. So trails are unique, and if you're not sure where you're going, it's always a good idea to stick to the trail. Lest you wander in the woods and for several days. I don't like the word retired.
Okay.
I'm not the host anymore. I gave that over to daughter Laura and a man that I hired, Bill Shirk. So they kind of run Minnesota Bound now. I still write scripts. You'll hear my voice as I track stories that I write. And I'm very active in some conservation things. I'm also president of an organization that was formed about 4 or 5 years ago called MnFish, MN-Fish. We formed because if you love fishing, it dawned on us that when it comes to our legislature, they paid no attention to our hatcheries that were old and crumbling. They paid no attention to our public boat accesses that were, a lot of them needed work. So we formed and raised some hell.
That's awesome.
And we were effective.
Yeah.
Well, the governor himself, Governor Walz, told me, he says, you know, if you're not a squeaky wheel over there, they think everything's fine with you.
It's true.
It's on Channel 11, Kare 11. At the moment, it's on 6:30 Saturday nights and 10:30 Sunday nights. I think the name of your show, people are interested in trails.
Yep.
And tails.
Yep.
And parks. And
Yep.
you told me you're expanding. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm excited to do
I
more.
like young people who have the entrepreneur spirit.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
what makes
trying.
this country great.